Hey everyone, I'm King. Welcome back to King Spade channel. So I finally got my friend code for the Pioneer test of Ragnarok Online 3, and I can finally join the other testers for a sneak peek of the game. I've been pretty excited to try this out, and now that I've spent some time with it, I want to share the things I like and the things I don't like. So let's start with the good stuff. The first thing that really impressed me, or rather a relief for me, is the skill point system. Unlike the traditional Ragnarok setup, you don't have to put points into lower tier job skills just to unlock the higher tier ones. For example, I could immediately pick up a second job hunter skill without touching the first job archer skills. That kind of flexibility is honestly refreshing. It allows you to shape your build the way you want instead of being forced down a rigid path. And here's something even better. Each job tier has its own separate pool of skill points. So your archer skills have their own pool, your hunter skills have their own pool, and so on. This means that even if you decide to skip a bunch of low level skills, you are not sacrificing your higher level potential. To me, this feels like the developers are giving players more freedom to experiment, to be creative, and to customize the characters without unnecessary restrictions. Another thing I like is the auto battle system. Now I know this is kind of controversial. A lot of people testing RO3 are not big fans of it, but personally I see it as a really useful quality of life feature. Let me give you two real examples of why I think this is something games should have nowadays. First, take Diablo Immortal. When it came out about 3 years ago, I was really hyped and played it for a while, but it didn't have auto battle at launch. What did players do? They came up with what's then known as the spoon method. Basically, you place a spoon on your keyboard or screen to hold down the attack button, so your character would just auto-attack monsters. It was such a clever workaround, but it also showed how badly people wanted an AFK farming function. Players will always find ways to make grinding easier. Second, from my personal experience with Live Universe or FlyFF Universe, which also released around the same time, that game didn't have auto battle either, and honestly I only lasted about a week. The manual grind just wore me down. Maybe it's my age showing, but I just couldn't keep clicking endlessly for hours. Some players lasted a few months, but eventually even they burned out. So for me, having auto battle built right into RO3 is a blessing. It saves time, reduces the strain, and makes the game more accessible without taking away the core experience. Next, I also like how many different ways there are to make your character stronger. Of course, you've got the classic systems like stats, skills, gear, and cards, but RO3 adds even more layers like the Remnant Echo, Divine Totem, Equipment Growth, and Pets system. Now, not everyone is going to like this because it can lean towards heavy monetization, but let me explain why I think it's still a good thing. This system adds depth and complexity. You are not just grinding levels, you are constantly finding new ways to push your character forward. In many games with limited growth options, you eventually hit a wall where you feel stuck, like there's nothing left to improve. That kills the excitement. But with multiple systems to work on, there's always another goal, another piece of progression to chase. Of course, this only works if it's balanced properly. The key is accessibility and moderation. These features shouldn't be locked behind paywalls or limited to just paying players, and if monetization is involved, the stats from paid items shouldn't be so overpowered that it breaks the balance of the game. Otherwise, you end up with frustrated players and a divided community. But as long as the developers keep it fair, this kind of complexity is actually a huge plus. Now here's something I think is really unique: the auction system after defeating a dungeon. At first, I thought it was strange, but the more I use it, the more I like it. Here's how it works. After you beat a dungeon boss, you get some guaranteed loot, but then there's an additional list of items that go into the auction. Let's say I need a specific Remnant Echo item that give my build the resonance I want, which in this example, these 3 items with this resonance specifically. Normally in other games, I'll have to pray for random drops or keep running the dungeon over and over ever again. But here I can actually guarantee that I'll get what I need if I win the auction. That eliminates so much frustration with RNG. Of course, the catch is that you need crystals to bid, and I'm pretty sure crystals will be a premium currency tied to top up or recharge. That's why players don't like the system. It feels pay to win. Personally, I think there are ways to make it better. For example, changing the bidding currency to something more accessible like points, or even adding a request system like in Ragnarok X Next Generation, where you can ask friends to share drops after the system distributed it randomly to players. Still, as a concept, the auction system feels innovative, and I appreciate that. Now let's talk about the things that I don't like. The biggest problem for me is the heavy RNG. Crafting equipment already has random quality tiers like purple, gold, and red, each with random stat ranges. On top of that, you get random affixes when crafting, and it doesn't stop there. Remnant Echo items also have random affixes and random resonance. That's RNG stack on RNG stack on RNG. It makes it incredibly hard to chase a perfect setup, and instead of feeling rewarding, it often just feels frustrating. Another thing I dislike is the party matching system. Right now, it's way too simple to the point of being inconvenient. When you open the party window, it just lumps all the parties together with no clear filter or goal. If you want to do a dungeon, you basically have to crawl endlessly or rely on recruit messages in chat. There's no matchmaking that automatically pairs you with a party that shares your objective. It wasted time and feels outdated compared to what other modern MMOs offer. I also noticed there's no teleport NPC in the game right now. Maybe this is intentional to encourage exploration during the Pioneer task, but with how big Midgard is, having to walk across maps can feel like a chore. Hopefully this is just temporary and they will add teleport NPCs later. And lastly, this one is more of a personal preference, but the icons on the interface are way too small for me. Maybe it's because I've played more mobile games, or maybe it's just my old eyes, but I struggle to read everything clearly. If they could add an option to adjust the UI scale, that will be a huge quality of life improvement, especially for players like me. So overall, there's a lot I like about RO3. The flexibility of the skill system, the convenience of auto battle, and the depth of character progression. But there are also things that need improvement, like the over-reliance on RNG, the weak party matching system, and the tiny UI. And of course, there are other features like the battle point system, which is already partially taken out as of now, along with the patch system and the divine totem system. Many players are already predicting this will be heavily monetized. I'm reserving my thoughts until they actually open these features up, maybe during future tests or the official release. It's still early, and this is just the Pioneer test, so I'm hopeful that the developers will fine-tune things before the official release. Now, what about you? Which of these features do you like or dislike the most? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love to hear how you feel about the direction RO3 is taking. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you for always supporting me and this channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. And as always, happy playing. Bye bye.